Yo, 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 another guitar lesson here for you guys. Got a question from Jim Depp, it looks like. Regarding learning scales over chord changes, do you recommend triads before pentatonics and then modular scales in that order, or do you suggest a different learning sequence? I'm not sure if trying to do them all at the same time is a good strategy or not. Okay, so in regards to scales, in regards to playing over chord changes, yes, I would say that is definitely the proper order. I would say triads, spend as much time on triads as possible. A lot of what I practice is playing triads. And I just practice playing over certain songs or just different chord progressions quite a bit. And I just limit myself to triads. And the reason you're doing that is because those are the strongest notes in the progression. And when you hit the changes, that's the key to your question as far as regards to playing the changes. I wouldn't have the same answer if it was just starting out. Just starting out, I might tell you to learn the pentatonic scale just to get you in the arena, get you in the game playing. And then I would probably suggest learning the major scale as well. And the triads last, honestly, if you're just starting out. But if you're already playing and you're just trying to figure out how to play changes better and just you're trying to get into that, I would 100% start with the triad. Or you could just look at it as arpeggio. That's literally what you're doing. You're arpeggiating the chord. And then add the pentatonic to that, or see the pentatonic within that. So for example, if you're doing it, let's say you're just doing C to G. So when you're playing that C chord, you're playing 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. G, the same thing, 3, 1, 3, 5. Now, I'm just kind of moving up and down here. When you add the pentatonic scale, I would encourage you to see it as an addition to the triad in relationship. So the triad is 1, 3, 5. The pentatonic scale, we're just adding, for the major pentatonic, we're just adding the 2 and the 6, right? So I can still see my triad, but then I can add. See, I just went from the 1 to the 2 down to the 6. I can superimpose the 2 and the 6 there. Now, is that the pentatonic scale? 100%. But if you already see that pattern, if you've done the work to see the triads, you want to see the triads embedded in the scale. So this is why you would learn the triads first when playing changes, because if you already know the pentatonic scale works. But what you're trying to do is play changes. And when you're playing changes, it's kind of like you're taking a microscope and you're looking deeper into the harmonic structure of what's going on. So as you do that, you are starting to see the pentatonic scale differently. The same scale you've been playing has different, the notes are, you can start to see the stronger notes within the scale. For example, again, just let's say I'm playing, so let's say at first I just think of over G and C, maybe I'm just thinking G major pentatonic. And I see that shape and I'm just using my ear mostly to grab what I like, right? But after I study the triads, I know where the 3, the 5, and the 1 are. So now I can consciously land on these strong notes. I landed on the 5 or the 3 and then the 5. And then of course it's really handy when the chords move, obviously, because yes, you can just move the scale to C. But if you move when the chord changes to C, let's say we're playing G to C. Well, if I'm playing the changes and I'm going from that G major pentatonic scale to the C major pentatonic scale, I'm just going to keep it simple so you can kind of see what's going on here. So I just do the same shape down here. Well, if I move into that C chord and I just grab a random note in that C pentatonic scale, let's say I grab the 6, so that note does not signify, that note is not part of the C major chord, so you're not going to really hear the change. Now, it's not like it's totally off limits, but part of learning to play the changes is to get comfortable, familiar with the nuts and bolts of the harmony. So you can consciously hit the chord tones in certain spots, aka when the chord changes, playing the changes. And this is why you hear a difference between certain guitar players, certain musicians, and others, is because they've taken that extra time to actually know where these notes are, and then their lines are just popping. They're just really, really fresh, and they're very musical, and they're more musically mature, you might even say, because they're not just seeing a pattern and using their ear. Now, there's a time and a place for that, don't get me wrong, but yeah, playing the changes, triads all day and all night. And also what you can do with the triads is eventually maybe I started doing something like adding 7th chords. So let's say I'm doing a C, let's say I'm in C, and I go to that G dominant 7. So you might think, a lot of people might think, oh, now I got to learn a whole new arpeggio, a whole new shape. Well, no, the G dominant 7 chord is a G major triad with one note added to it. The flat 7. So laying that foundations of the triads, it's like chapter 1 in playing the changes. It'd be like chapter 1 in math would be addition and subtraction. And a lot of people want to just skip to chapter 5 and try to figure out algebra without even knowing how to add and subtract. Doesn't really work out that well for you. So the comprehensive part is really important to see. So the triads are chapter 1, and then add chapter 2 would be adding the the pentatonic, the 2 and the 6 to the triad. You get the pentatonic scale, and then you could say chapter 3 would be the major scale, which would be adding the 4 and the 7. And then of course modes, I would say, would be chapter 4, which is just variations of the major scale. And you can take that and use it with the minor as well. You're just going to have different patterns because there's a flat 3 involved with the minor. But anyway, I hope this clears things up for you. And I appreciate you engaging with the channel. I appreciate you watching, Jim. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you guys have any other questions, or Jim, if you have any follow-up questions, hit me up. Also, I do teach one-on-one lessons. I still have a few openings left. I do a decent amount of Zoom. I teach out of the Kansas City area, just here at my home, a lot of students, but I also do Zoom. So if you're interested in doing some one-on-one, hit me up. Peace.